All right, so I was not aware this was a father-son.
You didn't realize that?
No, I didn't know that. What must you didn't tell me it was a father-son?
I think it did.
You didn't tell me there was like some legacy duo coming.
Well, it's just Dave and Dave.
Yeah.
Dave and Dave.
We met downtown a couple years ago.
He was sleeping beside a woman.
Yeah, it sounds like a radio show or something.
Dave and Dave. That's a sandwich shop waiting to happen.
No doubt. You guys, there's more franchise opportunities with the whole Dave and Dave thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
We probably just name it David and David, though.
Yeah.
Not David and
Dave. The Dave is like a cringe thing.
Yeah.
What's up, Dave?
I'm like, hey, man.
You guys,
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's always so funny because they're like, hey, what's your name? I'm like, I'm David. Nice to meet you. Dave. No, I said David. I
think I only know one Dave that I like.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, his name's David. Everyone calls him Dave. But yeah,
I'm the opposite.
Most Daves you want to punch. You guys are in the right field.
Even before we were in this field, we were the Dave you wanted to punch.
My quick David story. We'll start with Junior story. My I feel like introduction to you as a person, David, was you get the watered down version of you when you first meet because you're being nice and just being
I don't know where you're going.
No, this is a good thing. But
did he kick your ass?
Well, he's done that a few times. But it was we were playing for position. I was down with guard up and you were trying to get past my guard, and I'm feeling pretty good because the first two people that came up against me, I beat both of them or maintain my guard, and then David walks up and I put my legs up to block you and you cartwheel over me and mid-air, I'm saying mid-air, motherfucker.
I gotta jump over those legs. Your legs are 2 times
and
taller.
honestly, I really respected that, David. That was I feel when I saw a glimpse into who you as a, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad that was your
funny,
first day. Hey, I think I did something wrong because now this thing's falling. I'm sorry.
Obs, can you fix this?
I'm sorry. I'm making more work for you.
No, you're right. And then
I'm sorry.
Pull that mic up to you just a little bit. It should be fist length. There you go.
About right here? Okay.
Yeah. That's when you got that Rogan register. You know what I mean? When you're about that far away.
That's what we're going for, a Rogan register.
Rogan register.
Yeah.
Yep. The closer it is, the sexier you sound.
Is this better or does it need to be closer?
No, that's perfect.
That's perfect.
Guys, thank you for coming.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Welcome to the Legacy Angel Network Venture Lounge, where nothing ventured is nothing changed. For Matt Helmenthaler, press 1. For member services, press 2. For real raw startup stories, press 3. For all other questions or concerns, please wait on the line in our
Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt Helmenthaler, and you're listening to Venture Lounge, after-hour conversations with founders and investors. These are the stories, insights, and conversations that you aren't going to find on the company website. Because the real lessons you learn in the startup world, the risks you take as an entrepreneur, the highs and the lows, the moments in your journey when no one else believes in you right before you break through. Those are the moments that you just have to hear for yourself. So grab a drink and listen in to the men and women who are changing the world. Welcome to the Venture Lounge.
Welcome back to Venture Lounge, everybody. Nothing venture, nothing changed. My name is Connor Sherman, creative director here at Legacy Angel Network, and I'm joined here by our fearless founder, Matt. What's up?
Hello. How's it going, man?
Great. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You know,
got the pinks on today.
I got my pink Reeboks on. Yeah. Trying to keep it real, I guess. I don't know.
You got us all beat, man.
I don't know. I was in my closet. I'm like, why not just throw on the pink shoes? Let's just see what happens.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hotbox in the building. What's up, boys?
What's going on?
Hotbox MMA. So yeah, I mean, normally I do the intro because they're my guests that I invite. I don't know you guys. Okay.
That's even better.
So yeah, this is good. So Connor, you're gonna do the intro.
Well,
and
Matt,
I should let you guys know he talks about you guys all the time. Basically says how much he kicks your ass.
Of course.
Right,
Like
right.
he
You know
talks.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
He's like, Matt, I can destroy anybody in that gym anytime I want.
Damn
I'm
it,
just
Matt.
toying with these guys. He talks a lot of shit when he's not.
Right, that's me. No, they probably do feel like they do jujitsu with how much I talk about it, for sure.
That's good.
That's good, man.
No, he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. It's like a whole, and we'll get into it, but I think like, for me, just by my own anecdotal experience, there's like so many parallels between our lives as like entrepreneurs and our life, fighting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the resilience that you build up, everything. It's like a giant mental exercise. And I think that's what really surprised me at first. I mean, Aubrey and I have both always been active. Like she's still real heavy in the CrossFit thing. I love that and was doing that for a while. But it's like, it just surprised me how stupid I felt. Like walking through the first time, like how cerebral everything you're doing is. I mean,
Right.
it just takes a lot of brain power. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot different than a run or something where, it's kind of passive.
Right.
So
You're just, like,
Aubrey,
going
he's
for it.
basically saying what you do takes no brain power.
The problem is that Aubrey can do handstand push-ups and probably squat more than all of us, so that's like
Yeah.
real
Yeah, for
danger.
sure.
But it takes no brain power.
Right. That's the takeaway here. Guys, you're not, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not from here,
No,
right?
we're from Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, tell us how, like, where y'all came from, how you grew up, like, life there, and, like, how you got here.
Melbourne, like I said, grew up in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I'm 48, moved here when I turned 40. So I lived there pretty much my whole life. A couple years ago, Rocky Mount was in Forbes magazine, top 10 most impoverished cities in America.
Yeah.
It was not too long ago it was voted. I can't remember if it was the U.S.'s most depressing town or if it was North Carolina's most depressing town. So it's really, it's not a lot there anymore. And so, I mean, we would come down here on vacation, and finally we got to the point where we got tired of talking about wanting to come here and packed up everything we had and moved down here.
Sick, man.
Wow.
Takes a lot of courage to just take the jump, even
Yeah.
maybe less so if you guys, David's mentioned it before, that like y'all situation there, you guys were like not happy about it.
No,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So maybe if you have like, sound like y'all didn't have much to lose, you just wanted something better. You wanted to
Right.
pursue something bigger.
I mean, it's not the worst place in the world, but it's not the best. It used to be a textile town. We had a big flood come around. It was,
Like
God.
01.
yeah, it was like 2001. It was Hurricane Floyd came, and it wiped away like a lot of the town. And a lot of like the manufacturing businesses, that's when they started going overseas. And then once a lot of the manufacturing businesses left, like the big drive and economy in that town, once you take that away, like all the jobs go. And I mean, I had a job, I worked for a food service delivery company, and that was like 45 minutes away, 45 minutes away. So if you wanted a good job, you had to travel outside of Rocky Mount. And it's just not much of a future for him. I mean, if at the time he was just graduating high school, my daughter was, I think she was Maggie was in second grade, and just looking at like I knew there was no future in that town for my kids. I made do with the best of what I could, but there was nothing for them there. There was no, I'm gonna get a good job doing this, not unless you're selling drugs. I mean, that's the only way to make money in that town, to be honest. And it's just a rapidly decreasing.
It gets worse every year.
Yeah.
Every year. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
did you guys see what in the gym, or like what you guys have built now, because there's a huge meteoric rise from what you're describing then
Right.
to the success of y'all's gym. I mean, has that always been in the picture, or like a dream of y'all's, or how did that happen? You always been fighting?
Well, we started training martial arts a little over 20 years ago. I trained a little bit when I was a kid and kind of got that taste for it. And then pretty much during a divorce from his mom, I wanted something to keep him busy and something to kind of keep his mind occupied, because he was 5 years old when me and his mother split up.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And So I put him in that, and then I was just like, I was sitting and watching. I was like, well, if I'm going to sit and watch, I mean, if I'm going to be here, I might as well participate.
Oh, cool.
And so we went through Taekwondo and did that, and then eventually started messing around with a little bit of Jiu-Jitsu a little bit. But we started off, our first thing was Taekwondo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to teach Taekwondo also. I taught Taekwondo in like 2005 in like this little YMCA program in Emporia, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
So that was my first taste of
So
teaching.
he's downplaying it a little bit because,
Yeah, tell us it.
yeah, especially back then, how Taekwondo is now, it's a little watered down. But when we were training like for the Olympics, basically. So we were going all the way from like Maryland and South and just cleaning out the divisions. And it just got to the point where there was no more competition anymore. And that's when we found Jiu-Jitsu.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, what did you guys feel like? What introduced you to Jiu-Jitsu, I guess?
A good friend of mine, he was a blue belt in the town we lived in. It only had Taekwondo there.
Which is like, maybe you should just briefly explain the difference between these things because...
Okay, Taekwondo is more of a striking art. How you see it now, it's mostly done Olympic style, where it's very minimal strikes. And strikes meaning like punches. I'd say it's probably 80% kicks because it became more sport oriented. The guy that we trained under originally, he was a K1 kickboxer. So with that kickboxing, his former student taught it more kind of like a kickboxing art instead of like a sport Taekwondo art. It wasn't like a point sparring or a really Olympic style, like with a point sparring is like where you make contact, you stop, you reset. So it's all about points, like hitting to the head, hitting to the body. And Olympic style, you wear like this chest protector with targets on it. And what you're supposed to do is hit those targets, but there's no there's no punches to the face. I think it's from the front of the ears forward, but you can kick to the head. So that's the difference in that there's no punching. You can lightly kick with point sparring, but you can throw penetrating kicks with Olympic style sparring. And Jiu-Jitsu is all groundwork. It's the takedown, it's the manipulation of the joints, the chokes using the carotid arteries and the throat, and just making your life miserable.
Well, let me tell you guys, UFC is a lot more fun to watch now that I know what guard is. You know what I'm saying? Now that I know, like Joe, we're going to be talking about somebody in the clinch. I'll be like, oh shit, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, just imagining what that could mean.
You're not saying like stand them up anymore, right?
Well, now that you know what it's about, now you realize it's a lot more than somebody laying on top of you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like you said, you're not going to just, if he's on top of me and he's throwing punches, it's a whole lot more than just picking him up or moving out of the way that you've got your legs crossed, the way that you're distributing your weight to your hips, the way that you're driving your hips down. There's so many different little parts instead of just two people laying on top of each other and they can't just stand up.
And because, I mean, you like even if you know nothing, and I still don't know nothing, but like watching UFC was always fun because like somebody get knocked out or somebody be bleeding, like all that stuff is like is interesting. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, the stakes are really high. You get it. You know, Jiu-Jitsu is like, I mean, becoming equally as popular with UFC Fight Pass and stuff, but it's harder to understand. Like it really does look like if you never watch it competitively, that he's just like laying on the guy, or it's just like. But then you get into the nuance on it and you start explaining like real time what you should be doing. It's like, man, there's like a million variations to just laying on somebody.
100%.
You know?
I remember when I used to watch the UFC with my dad years and years and years and years. This is when you rented them at Blockbuster Video.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they would do more than one fight in a night, right?
Tournament style. Yeah.
It was tournament style. So you could barely win your first fight. You're all like beat up and bloody, and you're coming in, 2 hours later to fight again.
Crazy, man.
It was nuts. And so like Hoist Gracie, he was the guy that, of course, you guys know this, but like I remember being blown away how he was, come up against these guys that were clearly, they looked more aggressive, they looked tougher, But he just had this way of like finagling them on the ground, and they didn't know what to hit him.
Right.
They had no idea what the hell was going on. And I remember my dad and I just being dumbfounded.
Was he like the practitioner, like Carlson Gracie practitioner, or was he the first to kind of come mainstream with jiu-jitsu, or like how did?
So, what a lot of like jiu-jitsu, the first UFCs were basically a infomercial for the Gracie family.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Was it Horian? I was probably wrong. One of the Gracies owned it, along with another promoter. And that's why originally when you saw it, it was like jiu-jitsu against taekwondo, wrestling against like sambo, so or whatever, however it was. So that was their way of...
And no weight class.
No weight classes. And it was all tournaments.
I didn't know that either.
It was nuts.
And so that's how they brought jiu-jitsu into the United States. Like everybody knew about jiu-jitsu in Brazil, but that's how they, like when the Gracies first moved here, like they were in, was it like Torrance, California? And I forgot where I was going, but it was just their way of introducing it. That's why they picked Hoist. Hickson was their undefeated one. He was the brother that was undefeated. So what they did, they picked the smallest one out of the Gracie family, because it would be no good like if they had the undefeated fighter coming in to prove that jiu-jitsu was best. So they picked the smallest Gracie to sell it to the world.
And then he kicked everyone's butt.
Everybody, yeah. Everybody.
Did he ever lose in the UFC?
Oh, yeah. Matt Hughes, I think, ragdolled him the last time they fought.
Okay.
It just happens if you stick around in the UFC long enough, right? I mean, like other than...
At some point, right? But back then you could kick people in the face while they were laying on the ground. So the rules have changed a lot.
I mean, I saw this one guy, he tackled, he was a kickboxer, and he front kicked this guy in the chest. This guy goes to the ground, and he just gets on top of him with his elbows and just like opens the guy's face up with just elbows.
This was Blockbuster days.
Yeah, dude, it was over in like 15 seconds in this guy's face. You couldn't tell he was human anymore. It was nuts.
Yeah, you would rent a UFC fight than a Faces of Death video too.
It was crazy.
That's like a giant like world star video, man.
That's right.
So yeah, introduced to BJJ. What'd you think of it for the first time? And were you? I mean, the whole like opening your own studio thing. How'd that progress?
I moved when I moved down here. I trained at a local gym, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't what I was used to, because all the people that I used to train with, everybody was friends. Everybody would kind of hang out. We all had like a personal relationship. So when I moved down here, I tried a couple of places out, and I couldn't find that anywhere. And like I went to one place, and like I hardly knew anybody, and I was there for maybe right at a year, give or take, and I couldn't tell you but 2 or 3 people's names.
Man.
And I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all. And I kind of quit going and started going somewhere else, trying to find what was a click, like what was a match for me, and still couldn't find what I liked. And I remember I was laying on the couch taking a nap before I picked my daughter up, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to open up my own gym. And here we are. Right now, we've started off with a 1,000 square foot place, then moved up to I think we were like 23, I can't remember if it was a 1,700 or a 2,300 square foot place. Now we've got a 7,000 square foot place with like almost 300 people now.
Wow.
So it's
amazing.
Growing out of that.
Yeah.
Growing out of that too.
Yeah, our 5:30 class, like we'll have, when school's back in and everybody's there, it's not unheard of to have almost 70 people in the 2 classes, in between the kids' classes and the adult classes.
Mm-hmm.
The kids' classes are cool to see too, man. Just like all the little killers.
Oh, they're killers, man.
Yeah, it's insane. I started helping him with the kids jiu-jitsu program like 7 years ago, kind of like maybe a year in when we first started, and then he recently gave it to me when 3 years ago maybe when we first moved.
Mm-hmm,
almost 4 years ago. So I've been the head kids jiu-jitsu instructor for almost 4 years now, and it's crazy being able to see what these kids can do, you know, because they're not thinking about a million other things like we are, so they can retain everything they're learning. And it's crazy. Like I've got a couple kids that have competed at really high level tournaments and done good, and it's cool because I taught them that those are my kids that I've got to bring up basically ever since they were like 5. So it's crazy being able to see how they can just defend themselves and go to these like huge tournaments. I mean, going to a huge tournament like that, like one of my kids a couple weeks ago is a big, it's called IBJJF. And it's a humongous tournament. It was Pan-American kids, and there was probably like 10,000 people there.
It was
crazy.
Second biggest tournament in the United States.
Yeah, and my kids went out there, did great. Ended up getting like 4th place or something, but still being at people are flying all the way from like Europe, Asia, all across America. So even doing that, I mean, that's insane for a kid, so.
Yeah, man, and just like that, you'll have a real culture at your gym. Like what y'all are describing or what you couldn't find, Dave, you created it for sure. It feels like you guys, like I walked in, like the first time I walked in there, it's like y'all are blaring Trippy Red and Joe Rogan's on the wall, like all kind, you know what I mean, all the stuff that's like everybody's friendly, you know what I mean? Everyone's introducing themselves. Yeah. I love watching.
They
like
better.
Man, yeah, and that's like a standard that you set. It's like, no, we don't do this this like standoffish thing. You know what I mean? It's just part of what you do. Is and I love like Eric especially, man. Like he'll just walk like I don't know what his last name is, but the dude with the long hair.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? I watch Eric every single time. Like when he walks in from class, walks around and shakes every's hand, like,
and he should,
like religiously,
And it's I'm sure you've heard me say, like whenever we have somebody that's new there, and I make them stand up and introduce themselves, and I'll tell you that it's their first day, and I'll tell them like, look, remember what your first day was like. We didn't give you a miserable first day, so if you give them a miserable first day, we're going to give you a miserable day. And it just, because I mean, it's already intimidating enough calling a gym. It's even more intimidating enough, like, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym. And it's even harder to walk inside. And then once you put your feet on the mat, for maybe it was somebody that was bullied when they were younger, maybe it was somebody that was like a victim of something. Maybe it brings back like flashback that because they know there's going to be confrontation.
Yeah,
and not to the point where it's like a violent form of a mean form of confrontation. It's very violent.
That's funny that you're trying to pick the word because there is a nuance there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Very much so, but it's hard. And for anybody to do that, you're already stressed out, and the last thing you want to do is to be in a room full of people that's acting like a prick to you. You know.
Yep.
So we try to make it fun. We don't really beat you up until like after a week, maybe a week.
Well, dude, and let me tell you, like you guys did it. Like
Thank you.
Like that thing that you're describing. Never met y'all before. One of those things that I would just never do for myself. Aubrey set me up. Like she still was emailing you guys. Shout out wifey.
Okay, that's right.
But. That thing is real. So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, like when y'all were building your gym, tell us like early days, like the like how you grew this thing and how'd you was it intentional creating the thing that you wanted, or did it just fall together? I mean,
I'll let you take that.
It was Dave.
Give me a chance to breathe.
At the time we were both still working jobs. I had 2 jobs at the time. He had 1 full-time job, and he was trying to take care of the gym. I was trying to help as much as I could, but we just kind of like what we've kind of been over. We're really good at being real, and we're really true to ourselves and kind of what we put out. And I think that's what connects with a lot of people, and I think that's what drives a lot of people in, and it makes people stay. Because I've been to a few gyms out here, and like I said, it's just not really like that feel, and it's. When you can't find that anywhere, exactly, why not make that, And I think that has a big part to do with our success even still, because we've always been the same. And I think we just kind of really found exactly where we need to be at and what we're doing.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's a good way to describe it. You definitely will be in, I've been in plenty in business environments and meeting other people where just after an hour being around them, you're like, this isn't you're not this. Yeah. You're like doing a thing right now. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's got to be fun, because why are you going to come do something after you've worked all day that you're going to dread? It's not like a military camp where you got to stand on the line, not talk. Now we've trained under some people that have been like that. It's very traditional karate-ish, which we still have our.
We definitely made it our way, though. And I think that's the biggest thing, because when you train under or do anything for so long, that's the only way you know how to do it, because that's the only way you're shown. And once we kind of came out of our comfort zone and been like, oh, well, we don't have to do it exactly this way. We can do it our way now, because this is our gym, you know, or our business or whatever. I think once we just started doing things our way, it's true, man, and the proof is in the pudding. That's what makes success, I think, when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the VC space, we've heard, like, experienced it and heard the stories. It's like traditionally the same kind of, like, there's a lot of pockets that are the same way, where it's kind of stuffy. Like founders, people start companies are afraid to approach people for funding because they're not approachable, you know. And that's like, I feel like a large part of your success here too, Matt, is you've built something that is like just feels different. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, to your all's credit, I mean, you started with your why was good,
right,
and is good. You haven't moved away from your why,
right,
and then your culture reflects your why,
right.
So that was, I mean, so if we were bringing a company into here and we were going to go through some branding exercises, we would go into their why, because their why is a big part of their brand. It's a big part of their look, the feel, the whole bit, and then going into what kind of culture do you want to create within your business?
Right.
That needs to reflect in your brand. It needs to reflect in how you present yourself and what your people are saying. What do people say about your brand when you're not there, right? And something I've noticed, I see these shirts all over town, by the way, but something that I've noticed is that among that culture of people that are out in the community that go there, they represent your brand well.
Right.
They're your people. And that's hard for any company to accomplish. So whatever you guys are doing over there, I mean, you're definitely doing it right. So so cheers to you guys on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, we're really lucky at the end of the day, and we love what we're doing too. So I feel like if you don't love it, you're not going to be too successful.
Yeah, we don't dread Monday.
Well, I mean, you've created a community too. I mean, how many people get to have a community where they work?
It's hard.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's hard. You think about, I mean, I don't know if you guys are from here, but it's hard moving somewhere and making friends. And it's even harder to move somewhere and make friends with like a similar interest as you, or,
I've lived here 35 years. I still don't have friends. So
ain't nothing wrong with that sometimes.
It's probably the shoes.
Listen, let me tell you, man, you pay somebody to punch you in the face, you'll have all kinds of friends.
If you guys ever get into competitive thumb wrestling, that's something I might. I might get in on that.
That's awesome. So at what point did you move? It's been within the last couple of years that you've moved to the spot on US 1, right?
Yeah, we've been there almost 4 years. Yeah, we moved there
right in the heart of COVID.
Yeah,
and that was a risky business move.
A shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a big risk business wise, because, I mean, you saw how everything was in COVID. I mean, there was businesses going down. Like, I lost my job immediately when COVID happened.
Really?
Yep. And that was after you quit your job, right? You were full-time.
I quit my job, then COVID happened.
Yeah, that's literally how it happened. And then I just lost my job, and then we just kind of said, screw it, let's risk it. And then when we moved during COVID, we blew up. I mean,
but realistically, we shut down for like everybody, like, oh shit, we're all gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And then like, I'm still seeing these damn crackheads on the side of the road bumming for money. So COVID ain't that bad, or it's not wiping everybody out that bad. So then we're like, we'll do kickboxing at the park.
Yeah.
If the crackheads can make it.
Yeah, if crackheads are living,
we all can make it.
They can survive a lot, man. That's awesome.
But then we just kept going though, because we just put paper all over the glass at the gym, and then you had to have a little code to come through the back door, and we just kept going. But like I said, once we moved, we just blew up.
Yeah, man. And I think, like, especially during COVID, it had like almost an opposite effect, where 3 months in, everyone's like, man, I need to like be around other people. Mm-hmm. I need to make some lifestyle changes. You know what I mean? I like it. It accelerated that desire for change in people and growth in people,
Yeah, we were lucky we didn't get messed with. Like, we got a good sheriff here, and so I don't think he was really enforcing any of the because you want to go to LA Fitness, couldn't go to LA Fitness. You wanted to go to what was that? The other one on Wickham. There's no gyms open.
Yeah. You go out of Brevard, it's completely different. Like Miami was shut down for forever, you know.
Yeah.
So we got lucky in every aspect, I think, especially when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. How did the Gracies get involved? Was it always at Gracie Gym, or like how do you meet those people? What happens there? Because you see Carlson a couple times a year, events. He'll come to the gym.
We see him a lot.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So we've all every jiu-jitsu gym has some ties to the Gracie family somehow. Maybe 6 years ago, I hit up Carlson. And
just like you DM'd on Instagram or something?
Yeah, because I was friends with him on Facebook. So I sent him a message on Instagram, or no, it was Facebook, and I told him I was interested in like being an affiliate of him. And at the time, we were with somebody else. Went up there and talked to him, hung out with him. Like Carlson Gracie is, I don't know how to describe it. He's like, you've got the grandfather, which is Carlos. You got the father, which is Carlson Sr., which is he's known as like the godfather of MMA. He's the one that brought Jiu-Jitsu to all the people, because like the Elio Gracie side was more like for the rich, and Carlson Sr. is the one that invented the class setting for Jiu-Jitsu, where before on the Elio side, it was like a private lesson. It was all by private lesson, and it was all for the upper class and the rich.
Yeah.
So if you've done jiu-jitsu for a little while, you start doing a little bit of like research on like the origins, and there's no name bigger in jiu-jitsu in my opinion than Carlson Gracie. And I hit him up, told him I wanted to talk to him. We go. He's like, I'm in Florida right now, and I was like, shit, David, let's go. So we went to.
It's like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
Hour and a half drive right after class.
Yeah, it went right over there. And he was like, we got up there right when class was going. He was like, I'm getting in the car with you. We're going to ride and we're going to talk.
Yeah, it was the first time meeting him. He just jumped in our car. He's like, come eat with me. Come eat with me.
Super awesome guy. Awesome guy. So anyway, we talked to him. And so anyway, things didn't work out. So maybe like a year later, we're no longer with that affiliation that we were with. And he was the first person. I'd still maintain contact with him and stuff. And I hit him up. I was like, look, man, we're ready. And ever since then, I mean, he's been a great mentor. I got my black belt from Carlson Gracie.
And that's a huge accomplishment. Don't let him brush over that either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be able to have his black belt under Carlson, exactly, I mean, is insane. It's such an accomplishment. So it's very notable, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's I try to downplay it just because I'm talking about myself. But if I was talking about you, I'd be like, oh shit, that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? but I got my black belt from him, and we have him at the gym. We usually have him at the gym multiple times a year, usually about 3-4 times a year. Every year we do hold the Carlson Gracie affiliate camp at the gym every spring.
3-day camp.
It's a 3-day camp.
About 100 people a day.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's insane.
But he's been a huge help between like him helping me out with my jiu-jitsu, him helping me out, just with him being part of the gym. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing relationship that I've had with him.
But just from an outsider's perspective, like the thing that I can say about those guys is it's just really cool how accessible they are. Like you're saying, like it'd be like you start a Blaze Pizza and LeBron's part of that, and he comes play basketball with you. It's like, what the like, no one expected that. You know, but those guys are like in and out of the culture. Like they're in the stands watching people fight, and like on the gym, rolling on the mat. Like unbelievable.
Bro, he goes everywhere. Like one day I see he's at the Great Wall of China. The next day he's like in Turkey.
He's riding elephants. Like he left our gym last year and flew out, and I look on Instagram, and it's a picture of him with a friend on top of a damn elephant somewhere.
What a life, man. What a life.
I talked to him yesterday. He was in Brazil, so there's no telling where he's at now.
And he lives in Chicago.
He's based out of Chicago.
It is really cool that he's that accessible, though, too, because it means that you know it's more than his name.
100%.
You're borrowing. I mean, you're getting a mentor. You're getting a friend. You're getting somebody that cares about his own legacy,
Right.
and cares about giving back and handing over. You know, so it's kind of a neat thing that he kind of he does for you guys. And then, I mean, talk about legacy. That you guys are doing that for others,
Right, yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty awesome.
You know, we get so caught up in what we're doing. You know, we don't ever get a chance to step back and look. You know, we don't ever, like when we've had our anniversary parties, like, you know, I'm so busy working, or like we were at an event, I'm too busy just making sure everything's going smooth. I don't ever get that chance to sit back and look at what we've created. That's the thing that, you know, you got. We hadn't slowed down in
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, y'all are in it, man. And like with what y'all do too, it's extra exhausting because you're like working and training while you're working. And I mean, that's not for the faint of heart. Like y'all really love it. That's why it's still going.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Like I said, we don't dread a Monday. You know, usually by
My body might be still hurting from Saturday, but not mentally dreading.
yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
26 and you're hurting pretty bad, huh?
Hey, look, man, I'm 21 years into martial arts right now. My
That's
body's
great.
hurting.
Jiu-Jitsu year is a little bit different than regular year.
Yeah, I wrestled for a while. I did Muay Thai for a while. So.
I just have I have one question. It might be a little personal. I'm gonna put you on the spot. All right, Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do? I mean,
Top 5 cringiest questions.
that's what I was going for. Mission accomplished. Cheers to me.
Hey, real quick, I need another beer.
Yeah, hopefully this is like an opportunity to do that.
Oh, God,
Talk a little
Jesus.
bit about all the shit you've been doing for 7 years. You know,
We definitely don't ever do that, man. We're so, I mean, shit, by the time we,
Dave, you want another one? David, you want another one?
no, I'm good, man. I'm not trying to act a fool on the cam. But
He'll go home, take a nap.
we get so damn busy, man. I mean, by the time I get home, it's sometimes 11 o'clock at night, sometimes
I'm all right, brother.
11:30.
Thank you.
So it's hard to. We're going. I mean, when you have your own business, man. I mean, you guys know. I mean, it's you're on call.
There's no days off.
24/7. Doesn't matter what it is.
No,
just how it be.
I've been trying to not come into the office too much for a couple of reasons. One, with what I do, I need to be around town. I need to be meeting with people and stuff like that. But every now and then, I'll just go and I'll work from the house. I have a couple of dogs. I sit there, and it's a relaxing environment for me to like just kind of unplug and to kind of like. And you have to, as a business owner, you have to find these times and these moments throughout your day because you are always on call where you can have kind of like.
I wish I knew how to do that.
I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning. I'm just now figuring it out.
so
but
hard.
Sometimes
yeah.
I have to push him out of the gym because I need a class off sometimes or a day off sometimes because your body gets going. You sometimes we'll go a whole month without a day off sometimes because we've got stuff going on.
Man.
Sometimes every weekend we've got stuff going on. But I have to tell him to chill out for a little bit sometimes.
got a
Like
little
sometimes
bit
I'm
of
like, hey, let me teach today.
You know, leaders are all about like, you know, I think us as leaders, we would look at people that we lead and we would say, yes, self-care is important.
Right.
But rarely
To
do
everybody
leaders
else, except for
right.
what I'm seeing. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's to be able to take a deep breath and say, okay, this place is going to be fine. The people I have here are awesome.
Right.
I've helped train them to be awesome. Good for me. I'm a little awesome too. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to take a break for a moment and gather myself so that I can be better for them. And you know,
that's definitely hard when you
tough.
want to be great though, because you're like, well, if I'm taking a day off, I could be making money this day. I could be growing my business more, and so like that's where it's definitely hard to take a day off. But you got to though.
And I'm living what I tell everybody, 'cause especially when we have people that are training for fighting or training to compete, and they want to take a day off. Like that's fine. Like, you know, the person you're going against isn't taking the day off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's the worst day. I mean, it's good, but it's not the best way to live all the time.
But he's instilled that in me ever since I was a kid, and I think that's what you know, I competed a lot growing up in every single sport, and I think that's one thing that's also helped me, but sabotaged me a little bit at the same time. But it definitely helps in every way, for sure.
Well, and this right here, like, you know, when he was growing up, he like played football, played soccer, wrestled, and you know, when you're a kid on a team and you're not coming from nothing, you're not competing against people better than you. You're competing against people whose parents have got more money than you a lot of times. So, you know, and I always told him growing up, you know, if you want to stick out, you've got to look better than everybody, because there's a lot of people that you might beat them in talent, but you've got, it can't be a doubt that you're better than
but
everybody.
their dad bought the baseball team like a big
batting cage. Yeah, we know you're talking about.
Something like that, or the coach is dating
There's a lot of
someone's mom.
quarterbacks today whose parents...
He was a quarterback too.
whose parents are very wealthy. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing. Yeah, you ain't wrong.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
You ain't
That's how
wrong.
it goes.
What's interesting though is, for, like, just speaking for myself, jiu-jitsu's that for me. Like, that's my rest space. You know what I mean? Like, even if I'm tired physically, like, I just black out when I'm on the mat.
Well,
Like, I'm not thinking about anything else. You know what I mean? So, you know, y'all are in probably the opposite situation. Where, not that you don't love it, you know what I mean? But you need that.
But what drew you into it? Like, I mean, you're a big guy, so I mean, a lot of people doing it like self-defense wise. Like, 9 times out of 10, ain't nobody gonna mess with you. But
I'm kicking you in the knees. I believe in reality also.
I'm running.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's like, the people around me started influences me, definitely. Like my brother, like I said, my twin brother started getting into it. He's talking about it. We're the same in a lot of ways, like where we're both real, like we're creatives. We're into the process of things and everything, you know what I mean? And then, you know, I'm like a Rogan disciple. He's talking about it all the time, all these things. But I think for me, it's like, it feels like another creative outlet. You know what I mean? It feels like I'm like growing and developing in a whole new way outside of just self-defense. You know what I mean? There's so many components to it. Like, I mean, thinking about like my daughters, just for them to have the confidence to know what to do if
100%.
something went down. You know what I mean? God forbid they'd ever have to use it. But like these little kids that are doing it, and it's so cool to see the confidence in them build, you know? For me, man, it is cool. Like, it feels like another way to express myself, and like I said, it's like a relief thing. You know, when I'm sitting in front of the computer all day, kind of thing, I need like the exact opposite out of that. I need to feel something real,
right?
And, like, you know,
so much of your creative is for other people. So this is kind of more for you.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's kind of cool, man.
For sure. And for what I want to ask you guys is, what is that for you? Like, what do you guys find off the mats that gives you relief, or like what component of it makes you all keep going, or where you find rest? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I don't know, because we're so busy, so it's like it's not.
Well, you may not get a lot of rest right now.
Yeah,
like, just in general, you may not get
so
rest.
It's like,
but what keeps you going in it then?
I mean, other than coming to our podcast.
Right.
Exactly. Well,
we're chilling now. So.
I definitely, I've especially the beginning part of my life, I was doing a lot of striking, and then I started with jiu-jitsu, and now I'm the head MMA coach there, so I teach the Muay Thai classes and MMA classes, and that's something that really helped. Like, I love jiu-jitsu, but I'm starting to find a new love for striking again as well.
Cool.
And I get to play some good music. And I always play my music, so in my class, you know, so that those Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm always really excited for my striking class, because I don't get to teach the adults class as often, so it's cool to be able to have like my own kind of, you know, lane when it comes to the striking program, because he does the whole jiu-jitsu program, so it's cool for me to have my own thing. So I really look forward to that every single week. Well, that gets me going.
As I'm getting to know you, David, like, you're like you're a very expressive person and have a lot of character to you. You know what I mean? So like,
that was a good thing or a bad thing?
No, that is a great thing, man. No, dude. No, man. You're funny. You're joking around. You're lighthearted. You know what I mean? And like, it comes across in how you fight. That's a kind of funny thing to think.
Yeah, no,
really, guys, I'm not getting in between you guys. Just so you know, like, you got no help. Well, that's for thumb wrestling.
David, what about you, man? Like, where do you find that? Where do you find your peace, my man?
God.
At the gym?
I mean,
It's true, though.
like, it's
man.
good like when I'm home, you know what I'm saying? That's like when I get through, it's my time. Which, I mean, my wife and my daughter, my youngest daughter, and then like a lot of time my older daughter, she'll be there also. So I get all my family time at the gym. I feel like I'm like in a secluded island, you know, and everybody comes to me. Yeah. But I mean,
That's why I tell them we got to pump the brakes sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's slow down. Let's all hang for a little bit. You know what I mean? Because that's what
I need another thing to do. I'm in the process now of getting ready. I'm thinking about buying a jet ski. So I need something other than jiu-jitsu because it's jiu-jitsu. I teach 3 classes a day, pretty much every day, and I need that relaxation.
But that's how much we love it and we're obsessed with it, like to the point like where we don't do other things, like you know, other than you know, me and my girlfriend hang out a lot, but other than that, she does jiu-jitsu too, so we do jiu-jitsu together, and you know, so we're at the gym, man. If we're not at the gym, we're talking about jiu-jitsu stuff, and sometimes we gotta let's chill for a second.
Yeah, my wife got into it. She started doing a
they're both killers, Caitlin and your wife.
Yeah,
man.
Women's Jiu-Jitsu magazine.
Yeah, my girl, she's been doing, Caitlin, she's been doing jiu-jitsu for as long as I have, for 16 years.
Wow.
Because we started at the same time. So it's cool to be able to find somebody that like-minded, likes jiu-jitsu too. And for my mom to have never done jiu-jitsu before. And for you to get, for him to get her into jiu-jitsu, and then she found her own lane. She started a women's jiu-jitsu magazine, which is really big. So
you got to talk. It's Jiujiteira.
I don't even want to try to say it.
But that's super dope. Super dope.
It is.
They got a big following too.
Hey, we can do a little plug.
Jiujiteira
Magazine.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm butchering this right now.
We'll throw a link on the podcast. Yeah.
She's also a really amazing artist too. So tonight we're actually going to. She has one of her pieces of art in an art gallery. We're all going
downtown Melbourne.
Yeah. So it'll be cool.
I guess my point with all that though is y'all created a space that's more than teaching people self-defense. You know what I mean? Like y'all are giving people confidence. It's like it's just a whole new outlet and lifestyle. Like super cool. So talk about the MMA stuff a little bit, man. Because like the first time I walked in, it's like Carlson, like Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and then Hotbox MMA, and it was like took me a minute to like sort through what y'all do in these lanes. But talk about what you're doing and some of the fighters that y'all are running around with, Josh and Lewis.
So we'll start off with Josh. We'll go ahead and do this one first. We're getting ready to go to Massachusetts. We're going to go to Plymouth, Massachusetts again for Josh to fight for Cage Titans. The guy we're fighting, Josh, by the way, is a pro MMA fighter. He's a 4-time All-American college wrestler. He was nominated as Athlete of the Decade. I want to say what he almost won second place for Athlete of the Decade. Josh is just an amazing human being all the way around. There's no way to look at it. For everybody that knows Josh, I mean, nobody has anything bad to say about him. But anyway, he
unless he wrist locks.
Unless he wrist locks.
Man, he got me last week or the week before.
It's in the air.
He's awesome.
But we're going up there. He's going to fight Roz Hilton for the heavyweight belt, which is a big deal because he's already beat Roz. Roz, after he fought Roz 5 years ago, Roz ended up having a brief run in Bellator and the PFL. It seems like everybody that we fought has had UFC or Bellator connection. So we're hoping with this big showing where we're going to beat the brakes off of Roz, like this is going to be his step into like a bigger organization. We beat the number 1 heavyweight in Florida, and we beat the Cam was like number 5 at the time. So we beat some big names. So we're hoping this is going to be it. Lewis has been training with us for 2 years, and he came in. He was one of those ones that said from the beginning wanted to be an MMA fighter. And
we hear that every day.
Every day, yeah. Really, just don't tell us, show us. You know,
He definitely has shown us.
He has definitely shown us. Like the first couple of weeks, you know, when he first started, he was just real aggressive, but didn't have any skill to put behind it. No offense to him on that, but I mean nobody does. Like when they first start,
he's different now.
But but one thing he had, he's got heart, and that's one thing you can't teach anybody. He doesn't have that quit in him, and he just made a run. He's 4-1 now. We just got through losing a title shot at 125 at Combat Night. Now September 2nd, we're going to fight for the Leo Code 125 belt, and we got Smiley on that card. Also.
And then we got our boxing instructor, Seth Brown. He's one of our other pro fighters. He fights at the same weight I do at 125.
Awesome.
And he had a great amateur career. He's just starting off in his pro career now. Hopefully get another fight by the end of the year, beginning of next year. And Seth's great too. He's a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu.
He was supposed to come today, but
he was supposed to come today. He got in a car accident a couple days ago.
Ooh. Oh man,
you all right?
He's fine.
Yeah, he's getting an MRI of his little arm.
Bro, you guys have like a bad car accident juju thing going on.
Don't say that.
Dude.
It was May 20th.
Yeah, I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm coaching one of my kids. I'm yelling at them as I'm getting a call from my dad. And he's like, hey, I just flipped the car 5 times. I got to go. And I was like, okay. So I just bounced real quick. Very, very scary day.
That's the same car that you stole my keys to when you first came in on your first day.
Well, that was day one. I'm telling you, man, I have a bad habit with like my brain, like doing things in passing. I've stolen so many people's keys. Like exactly like that.
Reason I went behind the counter now. I was like, Connor might come out and steal my damn keys again.
Hey, where are my keys?
I swiped Matt's before and came back in.
I got home that day and he was like, man, that motherfucker took my keys.
He just came in day one. No, I did. I went inside. I signed up and then got home and was working on my computer, getting a call, and I'm like, David, son. Found out that I like looked in my pocket and it was the wrong Toyota.
I had to look on the camera. I was like, I know I put my keys on the counter.
David answered the phone.
I watched Connor just grab them, slide them, put them in his pocket.
He answered the phone and he was like, God, I'm so glad you answered the phone. That would have been some crazy shit if I just tried to play you right there.
Got him.
Good
Amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, man, all those guys, like, it's cool to see. I'm excited to watch Josh's fight, see Lewis's stuff coming up. And Josh is cool, man. He's like for how big he is, he's just so composed. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like, just unbothered, like, mid-roll. You know what I mean? That's cool to see, as the dude's really has some crazy inner peace stuff going on, you know?
Well, he's seen the mats so many times. Like I said, he wrestled all through college, and he's probably had.
I think he started in middle school and then high school and then college.
So he's probably wrestled 1,000 times.
Jeez.
Then he tried out for if I'm not mistaken, he tried out for the Olympics and went and almost made that route. So I mean, it just when there's no nerves there. Even before we go to a fight, you'll look on the floor and you can't find Josh. He's laying down taking a nap, like laying on his book bag.
So relaxed.
Yeah, just sleep. He would sleep right in between. Look at Facebook, that video he posted of him sitting on the mat the other day, sleeping up against the wall.
It's definitely inspiring, though, having, Josh be able to train with us, though, because when I first started, when I was 10, when I got to first start in jiu-jitsu, there was a couple pro fighters already at our gym, so I've got to kind of come up in the MMA community even as a child. When I started, I was like 14, I got to start helping people like pro fighters like kind of start training and stuff. So Josh has got so much experience, and it definitely helps me in every aspect when it comes to that.
Yeah, I'm sure all like rub off on each other.
Yeah,
And
we're all such good friends too. So that's why whenever we go to a fight, we bring all of our coaches, because you got to have a whole good week. Man. You got to have a good weight cut. Luckily, Josh probably don't have to cut maybe but 2 pounds, maybe to make 265.
He's right at
20
it.
pounds.
No, don't do him like that.
Yeah, he does. I mean, shit, he's 285 right now.
But still, You got to have a good vibe
286,
all
sorry.
week, all time. If you're about to go to war, though, you know what I mean. So it's good, all of us being friends and working like that.
So what's next for Hotbox and like MMA, like future?
We're taking over Melbourne if we haven't already.
Yeah.
When you hear MMA, when you think jiu-jitsu, you need to think us. And I think we're getting to that point if we're not already. You've got businesses here that have been around for almost 15 years, and we're half the time in, and I think everybody knows who we are compared to them. And that's, in my opinion, that's our goal, is to do that. And then the next is to take over even more, open more gyms, and keep taking over. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, right now we've got, I think I counted, we've got 12 fighters. We've got 4 pros that are with us now. My goal is a bigger facility, of course, just because like our 5:30 classes are ridiculous, and our nighttime classes are pretty big too. But that 5:30 class on that side with 30 people in it,
Yeah, 30 kids on the other
tight.
side.
Yeah, it's tight. So we want to expand. It's just right now the way that the economy is, the way that real estate is, it's rentals are ridiculous. Y'all
Right.
seen how the rental market's going and how the housing market's going, and trying to find something that's affordable right now. It's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible. But I mean, where we're at's good for right now. But I need another space the size of like that main space that we train in. And then I want to have another place to get a little bit larger cage to put in there, because we're getting so many MMA fighters, and we stay busy with fights. Usually every other month we're getting ready for a fight.
About
every
7
month.
a year.
Yeah.
7 a year, 5 a year.
Yeah. So we got this one coming up in September. So September 2nd we got Lewis. September
Same day for Smiley.
Smiley. Then we've got Jiu-Jitsu World League. Then we got Josh's fight. And if I'm not mistaken, that next one of the other weekends is the in-house tournament too. So we stay busy. I know there was a stretch a couple of months ago. We had something. We didn't get a day off for 2 months. I mean, it was just nonstop, something on the weekend, something on the weekend. Which I'm not complaining. I mean, because this is what we built up to.
Man.
I can't complain when this is what I've been praying for.
Right,
you know
right.
what I'm saying? So I've got what we wanted. And like you said, we love it. It's good. We get to go places. We get to meet people. Last fight we had a warm up area about this big. I don't know how much y'all follow like UFC and stuff like that, but as soon as I come up the steps, like the dressing room we're in, Rashad Evans is sitting in there, which is a UFC Hall of Famer, former was he 205 champ, wrapping his cousin's hands or his nephew's hands, and here it is, like we're sitting like closer to this to him, and he's just super nice guy. It's good, like you talk about the basketball with the LeBron James thing. You're not gonna hang out courtside with LeBron, but you can be back there with like Rashad Evans, and what we've met so many big name people in this right here.
Well, it's like the thing with fighting too. It's like no matter what level you're doing it at, it's like everybody gets it. Like you're in it's like a different thing, you know.
Right.
So guys that are competing right now in MMA, UFC, do you guys have some favorites? Guys that you just really like to follow? Guys that
Yeah, Justin Gaethje's one of my favorites. He brings it. He's got kind of the same attitude and fighting style as me, I think. So it's always my favorite. He just knocked out Dustin Poirier over the weekend.
Yeah, wild, man.
I'm old school. I don't watch as much UFC as I used to, but my favorite had always been BJ Penn. I always liked BJ Penn. I was a huge fan of his. But now I just like on Saturday night, usually about that time I'm asleep.
And I like 2016 Conor McGregor, not the 2023 Conor McGregor.
Coke McGregor.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that name would come up. Yeah. So what is he doing right now? I mean, like he like buffed up. All right.
Just being loaded, dude. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's got like a.
He's like massive
He is
now.
huge right now.
He's about to fight Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title.
His face is so huge now. But I don't know if it's because he shaved his beard and that's his.
He's the greatest of all time, though.
He
Man.
is.
It doesn't matter what happens.
Man, that what is that Netflix documentary called with him?
Notorious.
Man,
that was very good. That was really
it was so good, dude.
I haven't
And just
seen that
watching, like, it really was wild watching that early footage where he's like in Ireland training at some scummy gym and just like any other loser on the street. I mean, the dude was so low, and just made all of that off of his.
The night that he
crazy.
fought for the UFC and made his debut, he was on food stamps.
Yeah.
And he won $50,000 that night for a good knockout or like fight of the night or something. Crazy.
It's inspiring.
You can,
for sure.
you can change it.
There's a fight coming up right now that's super goofy.
Nate
Jake
Diaz
Paul,
versus Jake Paul. It's tomorrow.
I prayed Jake Paul knocks Diaz out.
God,
I pray.
That'd be amazing,
I have
man.
prayed that.
I don't, man. I hate all that influencer shit, man.
That's the thing.
Me.
The Pauls, like, I understand they're like it's for camera, I guess. I don't know, but they're just so cocky.
They
I mean, not that
guys,
Nate's not, I guess, but like
those guys went to school in Athens, like in Ohio, just an hour from where we went.
Oh, really?
We have a bunch of friends that went to school with them. You know what I mean? And they were just the same, like crummy kids that just see opportunities and aren't afraid to take them. You know what I mean? It's like
The kid's
they
definitely
are goofy.
good, though.
Don't get me wrong.
He's definitely good though, but at the same time, it's like he wants to do it, and you can tell he wants to do it because his technique looks good.
Yeah, with all the money that they've got, he is choosing this lifestyle. He don't have to do this lifestyle. He can just sit back and get paid, but he has got a love for it, and you know he's obviously training his ass off for it. You know, that's what I like about him, because I mean he could be on an island somewhere. He could. This is something he's choosing to do. This is something you choose to do. So,
Yeah, man.
I hope he sleeps, Diaz. To be honest with you, I'm probably the only person.
so what's the prediction?
I think Jake Paul knocks him out in some of the later rounds. I really do, because he's already flatlined.
I think Nate Diaz probably gets his ass beat for the first 8 rounds, and then Nate Diaz gets one little punch and then just taunts him for like the last 30 seconds, and then probably Jake Paul ends up winning.
It's going to be a scrap either way. You think? Yeah.
I hope not. I hope he just gets. I hope he gets Tyrone Woodland right in the middle of the ring. Hope he falls face first.
That was terrible, man. That was terrible.
Who was that heavyweight that just threw that like flying knee?
Derek Lewis.
Oh my gosh, what a maniac!
And then immediately took his pants off and then started doing the.
And Rogan, like in the interview, was like, "Did you plan that?" He's like, "Hell no." He's like, "I'm just doing whatever comes to my mind."
He's dangerous, man. He's big and dangerous.
Well, boys, the mission is pure for sure. Like if y'all are going to keep expanding, you're spreading something that's really valuable, you know. And like you said, you can't. This is stuff you can't buy. You know what I mean? Health, confidence, like that mindset that you get from it. It's something that you got to earn, kind of deal. And I think that's what. Also, it's like one of the few things in life now that that requires that merit. You know what I'm saying? You want to ask the final question, bro?
Final question. I mean, it's a 2-part question, and now we got 2 of you. So really, this question will be answered.
You got your work cut
4 times. All right, 2-part question. So one, you know, so we have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch this, and you guys clearly are entrepreneurs. You took a risk, you went for it. You know, you guys are successful. You're duplicating yourselves and your people. I mean, clearly, that's the success. But what's your inner voice? Like, what is the thing that drives you internally, just personally? And then, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs, people that are thinking of doing what you guys are doing? Maybe not the same business, but taking a risk and going for it. Like, you know, what advice would you offer?
Let me go first on that. Listen to your inner voice, unless it's telling you to like kill everybody in the room. Number one, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, if your mind is telling you something logical, you've got to, if you're thinking about opening a business, you've got to find something that there's a need for, you know? So you find that need, and you got to be realistic with it, you know, like not be like, I'm going to open a hospital. Realistically, you're not going to open a hospital if you have no experience in that right there. We've been doing martial arts so long, and for me, like I said earlier, I wanted to open up something that I felt, the only reason I opened this gym is so I can have cool people to train with. That's the only reason I opened it, because I couldn't find that when I first moved here. I couldn't find a large amount of cool people. So I went through that. And just, you can't make excuses for yourself. If there's a business you want to open, you can't stop until you have the skills that you need to do it. And just make a plan to. Damn, I just kind of lost my train on that one.
No, that was good, man.
You got to listen to yourself. You got to listen to your inner voice, and you got to be realistic with it. You can't. You got to keep yourself in reality with it.
Yeah.
I'll pass that to you for.
But yeah, you just definitely got to find your lane, find your niche, because I think that's what drives people. You gotta like I think I kind of touched on in the beginning. That's what makes us kind of apart from everybody else here, because we found our niche or our way to do things. You know what I mean? Just got to be true to yourself, man. That's the only way things work out. Once it ends up being fake, it might work for the first couple years, but people see that shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think that's the big one.
And if you see somebody doing something you can do better, you got to do it. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate your time. This was fun.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Appreciate
Cheers,
you,
y'all.
man. Cheers, man.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for listening, everybody.